Diablo 4 is finally among us, and it is unquestionably the best looking ARPG ever made. It is absolutely stunning how well they've created the environment, and with the hype of the world watching a new Diablo finally being released, it will undoubtedly set records and be viewed as a success on Blizzard's bottom line. But if it wasn't a Diablo game and it was some no-name ARPG trying to break into this gaming space, would it still be successful? I don't believe so. Again, I cannot deny the game is stunning, but when you peel off the makeup, what is left? A game filled with uninnovative systems that are left over from Diablo 3. The same systems that made Diablo 3 nothing more than a filler game players played when they were taking a break from Path of Exiles. Now, I understand Diablo 4 wants to avoid PoE's big barrier to entry and reach a wider audience. More people, more money. But all those pretty graphics simply aren't going to be enough to offer long-term sustainability. They need more depth within their in-game systems. The systems like crafting, looting, and skill trees are what make players think and feel engaged with the game. Of course, this is a beta, and only one to level 25 at that. So it's important to remember we're looking at Diablo through a small keyhole. There could be many systems we're yet to see that really make this game flourish. But I do feel it is fair to compare it to another ARPG currently in beta, and one I've only played to the appropriate level so far, Last Epoch. When comparing side by side, there's obviously a graphical difference, but 11th Hour Games definitely doesn't have the teams nor the financial backing that Blizzard Entertainment does, so I'm going to go ahead and say they're doing pretty good. Once you're in the game, you'll see the UIs are very similar, pretty standard stuff, but these are some of the differences I noticed right away. Starting off with character depth. Last Epoch offers 5 base classes, the same as Diablo. But within those 5 classes are 15 subclasses. Now, one could argue Diablo also offers this in its own unique way. A rogue can be a melee, trapper, or a ranger. A druid could shapeshift or focus on elemental. However these games choose to advertise this, I don't much care. The difference comes when you look at the depth of these specializations. Last Epoch's abilities have their own skill tree per ability. Think PoE skill tree, but on a much smaller scale. It still makes them feel unique and adds depth, making the player think without them feeling overwhelmed. Plus, simple things such as a respect out of an ability isn't without cost, making you consider your options before you do so. In addition to this, there's also a second talent tree for passive abilities. In fact, there are 4 passive ability talent trees, one for each specialization you can go into. Again, depth. As of right now, Diablo 4 lacks all of this. The talent tree is extremely straightforward and requires little to no thought. But as I said before, we are looking through a keyhole. With Diablo 4's goal of reaching a wider audience, I'm hopeful that we are currently experiencing an entry-level system and that the Paragon system will add a lot of the depth we are currently missing for the dedicated player later on. But it's not just the characters themselves. If we take a second to look at the in-game systems, I believe everyone can agree. The legendary power system inside Diablo 4 is a lot of fun. The different aspects provide a lot of possibilities to take a character build from good to great. This is their one good system I've experienced so far. And honestly, from what I've seen, Last Epoch does not have a system similar, but what they do have is the Forge. This is their direct answer for rerolling affixes on items. Again, here Diablo 4 lacks depth. In Diablo, you simply pay the vendor and pray you get the stat you want. You're not even told which stats are possible on an item. The Forge, on the other hand, shows you all the possible outcomes, the limit of your Forge potential, and has the ability past just changing one stat on an item. It makes your crafting materials you find feel valuable and makes you question if they're worth using on that item. Furthermore, they have an item filter, a very common and expected feature in ARPGs in today's landscape. Somehow, Blizzard didn't add one. Plus, uniques actually feel good when they drop. So far, I've only found 4 in total, a vast difference from Diablo 4's beta, where they are far too common to feel special at all. Hopefully in Diablo, the drop rate is just for testing and changes at launch. One of the really cool quality of life features you'll find in Last Epoch that I hope Blizzard would consider is the ability to look at an item without ever needing to loot it. You simply mouse over and hit shift and you can compare it to what you're currently wearing. Plus, please note how clean and easy it is to read the affixes compared to how hard it is to read one on a Diablo item. It's been 20 years, Blizzard. How is it possible they're still this messy? These are just some of the differences I've noticed so far. Diablo 4 really makes me appreciate the things like this character attribute screen. It's detailed, clean, and easy to read. I'm not sure what's going on with Diablos. Again, these are both betas, so anything could change. People hated the World of Warcraft beta in 2003 and thought Blizzard could never make a successful MMO. So I can't stress enough how important it is to remember we are viewing a small portion of Diablo 4, not the game in its entirety. Hopefully as we progress through the game, we see new systems unlocked that make the game feel more complete. If not, I fear Diablo will fall into the same place as Diablo 3 did, a filler game for your core ARGB players when they are between seasons.